Hey, John.
Hey Eric, how you doing tonight?
We always start out that way. It's now a
We
thing.
do. It's like oh, you and your things. You like trends.
I do. I'm a numbers guy. As my topic tonight will actually probably exaggerate. Yeah, what do we talk about? I lost my train of thought now. Oh, my day was good.
Was your day good?
I'm doing fine.
Oh, you crack me up.
Uh,
Oh yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to Shirley getting home tonight, so that I don't have to try and be single parent for. I don't know how single parents do it. It's amazing.
yeah, it's busy. I will be doing the single parent thing over spring break, but it'll just be me and Ty. So me and the boy. That ought to be fun. Get some good father son time in.
That'll be good. Well, I guess one other little meandering thing here. The weather's been freaking awesome down here lately.
Yeah,
Uh, I'm ready for spring.
I'm looking forward to the no longer scraping ice off my scraping frost off my windshield in the mornings.
All right, let's get to some security stuff. Enough chit chat.
All right.
What little there was.
So remember your last week your Memcache D
Oh
GitHub
yes.
attack.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Well, apparently I stumbled across some point this week a I don't know if this is counts as ironic or not, but a someone has released on GitHub a memcached DDoS exploit tool. So they've released all the source and everything for a tool that allows you to send forged UDP packets to memcached servers obtained from Shodan. So, does that count as irony?
I, I give that a pass. I mean, if it's rain on your wedding day, I think this is more ironic than that.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, so okay, so I actually hadn't looked at the source for this before, but I guess I thought that when I had seen a link, and maybe it wasn't, maybe it was to this, and I just didn't follow the link earlier. I thought that they were literally querying Showdown to gather the list, and then turning around and executing the attack all in one, like it was a script kiddie DOS in a box. Oh, no. Look at that. No, it is. You do need the Showdown API key. So it is doing that. I'm wrong.
That's what it looks like.
Oh, look at that. Right there. Line 58, 60-ish. Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah. Patch your servers or you'll be shamed into it.
No. You know that the people who are running this don't even notice the fact that they're hitting or handling an extra few
Right.
requests in a particular space of time.
Yep.
It's just like I mean, not just like, but from a notice perspective, just like you had, somebody that has an IP camera that happens to then be being used. As far as they're concerned, it probably still works. Anyway.
Yep. All right.
Well, that was the follow-up portion of the show. Are we going to start getting a follow-up segment?
I think if we need to. I just thought it was interesting. Yeah. If there's nothing to follow up on, I suppose there's no need for it.
Yeah. All right. So I got a couple things that kind of piqued my interest this week.
Okay.
You have something for me too, I assume?
Yeah. Do you want me to go first?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the one that I was looking at, I am a mobile guy. I've
through and through.
Top to bottom, I have both an Android phone and an iOS phone.
Carried all the time.
Yes, with me all the time. Frankly, I love my Pixel. I didn't upgrade to the Pixel 2. I think maybe I'll wait for the Pixel 3. But it's on my it's on my to-do list to get another Pixel. I really enjoy it. Anyway, so Google has released the next developer preview, or the first developer preview, I should say, of Android P. And I'll give you my opinion. So, I'm going to go with P is going to either be Android Popsicle if they don't get somebody to buy into it, like the Kit Kat or the Oreo.
Are they selling rights?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if they do, it'll be Android Pop-Tart. So you heard it here first. It's either Popsicle or Pop-Tart. That's my bet. Although I think somewhere I read that internally they're calling it Android Pistachio Ice Cream. Which, what a weird thing to call it, pistachio ice cream. I guess one of the things I wanted to talk about is kind of the list of things that I found interesting that they're going to continue to change for Android P.
Specifically security features?
Yeah, specifically more of the security related things. And they are, as they have been doing over the years, this is one more step towards the doing it the way Apple does things. There are some new improved app sandboxing features in Android P. I guess previously you could share data with other apps just by setting, because it's Linux underneath, right? Effectively, with some world-readable Unix permissions, you could share your app's data store with other apps. So they're no longer going to allow that.
Oh, so not like the certificate-based sharing that you could do on iOS, where you have to both have the same dev certificate.
Yes. Now they have different APIs for doing the similar thing. No longer can you just set permissions on the folder and make them world-readable. Like iOS, they're now enabling TLS by default. It's not forced, though. Like with iOS, I think all new apps will not be approved in the App Store, with some small exceptions, if they do not use TLS for any web connections. They're also going down the path of restricting non-SDK methods and fields. And this time they're actually going to make some that will disappear and not work at all. And then they're giving developers the notice. They're calling it light gray and dark gray. Light gray is they're going to work in Android P, but they're not guaranteed for the future. And dark gray is they work now in Developer Preview 1, but they're going away before we ship. So giving developers time to fix their apps.
Ooh. Ha. Sorry, that reminds me of the EPO SDK, honestly.
Yeah. They're adding better support for autofill for password managers. So right now, like if you have a password manager, you have to launch your password manager, switch app over to the password manager, cut and copy, and then switch back. I don't know what that means, but we'll see how that plays out.
But you can avoid maybe 2 steps of the 5-step dance.
Yes. Yes. Let's see. What was some of the other ones? And they're restricting access to the device hardware serial number for tracking and identification purposes. They're doing a number of other things in the area of privacy as well. But the biggest one that I thought was interesting was they are going to restrict access to the camera and the mic while the app is running in the background. So these, I think like Phone Sheriff and FlexiSpy, which I think have been in the news recently, they're billed as spying apps, or you put this on the phone and it's a keylogger and it tracks, and some of them bill themselves like parental control, so you can see what your kids are doing, but they're used for numbers of other things, law enforcement and things like that. So coming around, I mean, those are also available on iOS, so but if you have a jailbroken phone, things like that, will...
Who has a jailbroken phone these days?
I don't know.
Huh. Okay.
Some people. Anyways.
Actually, haven't even heard. I guess I heard there was an 11 something. 11.2 is the last jailbreak I remember reading about.
Oh.
It seems like it's been a while.
Yeah, there's... Jailbreaking is still, I think, a popular sport. So good on Google, I think. Kind of
that's some nice improvements. Very nice improvements.
However,
uh-oh.
Now for the numbers comment I made earlier.
The Google giveth and the Google taketh away? Oh, okay.
No. This is just the numbers thing, right? So,
okay, numbers.
One of the other things Google is doing is if you target a version of Android earlier than 4.2, you now get pop-ups and warnings. The Android will pop up warnings to the user saying, "Hey, this app is targeting really, really old stuff. No bueno."
Like the Apple had when they went to 64-bit. This app may slow down your phone.
Yes, and Google is I think it's in the document. They are moving that way as well. They're going to start supporting 64-bit only with the next one after, because they support 64-bit now, but it's not forced. I think the next one, Android, whatever Q is, that'll be a fun one to find a dessert for Q.
Quiche. Oh wait, that's not really a dessert.
Anyways, they're going to start enforcing 64-bit, something around that. Anyways, so 2 billion Google, 2 billion Android phones, active Android phones roughly. If you look out there, there are, for the last two versions, so Oreo, so O and N, so since 2016, out of the 2 billion phones, how many do you think are at least on N-1 active Android phones are N-1?
O or N?
Yeah, O or N.
I do not know these numbers, and I don't track the thing close enough. So you're putting me on the spot. I will say,
yeah,
it's gotta be more than 10%. But I apocryphally, is that a word?
It is now.
Apocryphally, I'll go with 20%.
So,
200 million.
It's actually...
Wait, no, sorry, 400 million. Sorry, 20%.
It's actually 30%
in my head. Oh, it's higher.
It's higher.
Oh,
I thought you would have guessed higher, and I was going to say no, way low. But out of 2 billion, that's 600 million
600
phones
600 million
are N and N-1.
That's higher than I realized.
Yeah.
Or than I thought, obviously.
And then 3 years old, so Marshmallow from 2015, that's 28%. So 560 million. And 2014, you've got Lollipop. So the OS, there's 500 million phones running that. And then now you're down to 300 million running, Kit Kat or Jelly Bean, or 4.2 through 5 is 300 million. So that's tons of phones.
Oh, that is tons of phones.
But
is that by the way just phones, or is that all Android devices?
I'm not sure.
Or does that include tablets? And
I'm not sure. I think it's phones. They're smart active devices, things? I think maybe. So it might include tablets as well.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah, so out of that 2 billion, I think it is phones, 2 billion phones, Android phones, 70% of them are running 3 years or older software. OS, right? Because 2 years ago, yes. 2016 and 2017, you got 30% roughly.
Yep.
So in comparison, and these are also estimate numbers I found online, iOS, there's about 700 million iOS devices. And N minus one on iOS devices is roughly 93%.
Wow.
So a significantly that is one thing Apple has always done really well at, encouraging people to use the latest OS, which they can just by virtue of how they position themselves in the market.
Yeah. Although I have to say, like, 2 comments on that. I mean, the first of which is their OS update prompt has gotten really annoying. So, I like to keep them up to date. I like to wait. I'm not the, oh gosh, let me update it right this second, because I use my phone a lot every day. Mm-hmm. And if there was something that, goes wrong in a update that comes out, I'd rather other people find that, please. So I'll generally wait at least a day, sometimes a couple days.
Yeah.
Before updating.
Oh yeah.
And then, we found that, we've got a couple of iPads in the house for the kids and stuff that they use, and those stopped. At least the iPad 4. I just looked the other day; it's still running a older version of 10.
Yeah.
10 something, and I think that's because it stopped getting updates.
Yeah.
To 11, which it's already slow enough. So I don't need the newer OS.
Yep. Anyway, so that's the thing
so
I
sure
wanted
that's how those 7% get there, is, probably older devices that are still perfectly functional, but,
Yep.
You can imagine a lot of situations where people, in fact, you know what? I helped my mother-in-law buy a new iPad just this past Christmas when she was up for Christmas. And, I think she was running an iPad 3. And it was so slow that she was, but it was, it's a really big thing for her, right? She ran it until, it basically wouldn't run anymore. and she had to do something else. But for her, so long as it kept working.
Yep.
That's all she needed.
I have a few of those in the house. Usually they're iPads that we put movies on for travel. Kids can watch movies.
All right. Well, hey, that was a long topic, man. That's a good one though. I'll be curious to see that. Do you know when what the release date is, or are they just?
Well, they'll have their
when it's done.
Google I/O coming up in the summer, and it'll probably be September, October, depends when it actually rolls out. In conjunction with their new phones. They do some other things I didn't bring up, like they now support a notch. So natively, the UI, you can define where your notch is, I guess, as the device manufacturer.
Embrace the notch.
Embracing the notch. And a few other UX things.
The notch doesn't bug me in the least. I barely even notice it.
Oh.
So you won't notice it on your Pixel 4 either.
All right. All right. Well, what do you got, John?
All right. Well, my first thing is and now for something completely different.
Sweet.
So I saw a post that basically had the release of some classified documents from 2016 that I thought was interesting. So the first one, which I find particularly hilarious, and I presume that this letter. So this is a letter from Ron Wyden, which is probably why it caught my eye, is because he is senator from Oregon, to the Homeland Security saying, "Hey, you should release the BOD that, or at least one of them that you did in 2016." So, and evidently, what is a BOD? You say a BOD, and I don't know I didn't know what a BOD was either. A binding operational directive. I'm taking a long time to get to this story, so maybe I need to actually say what it's really about. But the thing that was interesting about this is this was a internal government, agency to agency, and binding operational directive. In fact, it says here at the top of the second link, we'll probably try to put in here, is it's a compulsory direction to federal executive branch civilian departments and agencies. So this is basically hey, you have to do this. And then let me actually read a paragraph. So there are basically three links that I have here. There was the letter from Ron Wyden, the operational directive itself, and then there's basically a little paper, like a analysis report for the increasing threat to network infrastructure devices and recommended mitigation. So this was actually from 2016. So it was, I think it was either released under the Freedom of Information Act, or the Department of Homeland Security decided they could release it. But I'm going to go ahead and read this first paragraph here, or not the first paragraph, but a paragraph here, which basically says, network devices have been the attack vector of choice and one of the most effective techniques for sophisticated hackers and advanced threat actors. Yada, yada, yada. Unlike hosts that receive significant administrative security attention and for which security tools such as anti-malware exist, network devices are often working in the background with little oversight until network connectivity is broken or diminished. Malicious cyber actors take advantage of this fact and target network devices. Once on the device, they can remain there undetected for long periods. After an incident where administrators and security professionals yada, 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 clean up hosts, the persistent access on network devices can reattack the recently cleaned hosts. For this reason, administrators need to ensure proper configuration and control of network devices. So this I thought was interesting. If you remember, it was in 2016. There were, I don't know if it was the first release. Sorry, at my specific memory, and it's not like we do a ton of research for this show, but there was a release by the shadow brokers of the, some of the NSA tools, right. and that was the time where there were a number of Cisco vulnerabilities that were released in there. So I presume this followed that, but maybe it preceded it too. But this was the thing that I thought was, particularly interesting, and particularly, the general notion that if it's a network connected device, you kind of need to care about it. You need to care about patching it. You need to care about configuring it properly. You need to care about monitoring it.
And not just the thing on the end of the connection, the stuff in the middle.
Yes. Well, it's at the even if it's a router, it's still at the end of some connection.
Yeah. Fair point.
So, yeah. I didn't actually have, I guess, too much new to say about this. So we can, since your topic was quite long, unless there's something else you want to talk about here, we can move on. But I thought this was an interesting sort of collection of documents. And the article itself actually has a couple of examples of attacks on devices. So they go through a couple of examples. Which I thought were interesting.
Well, yeah, I think once people, especially on the consumer side, are getting used to this idea of, okay, I need to take care of my passwords, so I use a password manager. Okay, I know I have all these IoT devices now, and there's this thing called security, so maybe I pay attention to those. This is just adding onto the pile. Don't forget about your router. That's
there's no way. Like until there is a service that it just takes care of it for you, and there's some form of reason to do it, because your credit rating, because your home insurance, because your there's some consequence for owning a device that is involved in a
you need an economic incentive
or something like that. Yeah, there's
an economic incentive.
The incentives. I go back to the the incentives are not aligned for, it's both too hard, too opaque, for anyone to keep up. I mean, hell, even for security professionals, you can't keep up with every nuance of every domain. Let alone, I think of my parents or Shirley's mom or, the average quote unquote person on the street. They don't understand how, TCP works, let alone IP, let alone,
right.
Can you name the 7 layers of the OSI model? No, it's not reasonable to expect quote unquote normal humans to quote unquote do the right thing. The best I think we can hope for is some form of rating, like, the health of your home has fallen below 45, and some consequence to that, so that there's some motivation or incentive to stay above. And at that level, maybe there is something akin to insurance, but the moment it's best effort. And I think maybe another good analogy is, so many people don't back up their data, right? I mean, if you're not willing or understand what you have to do to like save the pictures of your family and children and the things that are important there, how are you going to know that you need to do run security controls or monitor what happens on your network and be notified when one of your devices is being used for malicious things, and you have to keep them up to date and patched. And
seems like a problem a security company should try to solve.
You'd think, huh? All right. I don't know how much of that you should probably cut out.
I was going to let you edit this one.
Oh, it's on me.
You can edit your own.
All right.
You can edit whatever you want out.
It'll be fun. All right. So we're already at 30 minutes. We should probably do our fun thing, I guess. I had a second topic, but it's an evergreen one, so we can save it for a future episode.
Okay. Something fun. So mine's probably short and sweet. One of the things I saw this week, it rolled across my Twitter feed, and I picked up on it because I have 2 daughters. They're older now, but they were Girl Scouts, and the Girl Scouts are going to start introducing cybersecurity badges, and they've teamed up with Palo Alto Networks to develop a program for 18 different cybersecurity-related cybersecurity education badges to the Girl Scouts, which I thought was kind of cool.
18 different badges.
Yeah, I don't know what they are. They're not going to be officially released or publicized until September of this year, 2018. But I think the article I read was they were doing a trial run for a Girl Scout troop, trying out what they think 9-year-old girls would need to or want to understand about a security topic, a cybersecurity topic.
Nice.
So
nice.
And that was kind of cool.
That is a cool thing. Well, kudos to Palo Alto. Kudos to the Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
That's
more
awesome.
than cookies. They're more than just cookies.
Oh no. I saw in fact, it probably in the continuing tradition. So for Eric, this is a trend of John being obtuse about tweets. I saw a tweet that said, "Of course, the Girl Scouts should be into security. They've been deleting cookies for years."
Oh,
They've been in the process of deleting cookies for years or something like that.
yeah.
So that was probably a reference to
There you go.
the something similar. Yeah, funny. All right. Okay. So wow, we've kind of got a humanitarian trend going in the what's cool this week. So my what's fun, I thought was actually a article about Puerto Rico. They had the devastating hurricane last fall, still in the process of recovery. And the article I read, it was, I think, from Wired, or at least the link I've got in front of me is from Wired. It was about how energy company is using drones to help in the repair of the country's electrical grid.
This is very cool.
Yeah.
As I read the article, I think we're really just scratching the surface to what drones can actually do.
Yeah. Well, let me say what this is.
Yeah.
I mean, for the people who are listening and haven't actually clicked through already. So they're basically taking. So they've got down power lines throughout, up valleys, down in ravines, up on hills, and historically, this would have been a very labor-intensive task to go through, find the line, tie a wire to it. They said they would actually like shoot tie a string or something like that to a bullet and shoot it over so that they can, get a heavier line on it and then lift it up and reattach it. So they're basically using, instead of human trudging through, forest labor, they're using drones with cameras and the ability to lift some things. And in fact, the drones that they mentioned in this article said that they could lift like 26 pounds or something like that. But so they take the drones, with a line, and then they can fly the drones around. Well, use the drone to identify the line, fly a line around it, and then take that back, pull a stronger line around than the drone could fly, and then they could actually lift the power lines remotely. So humans didn't have to go down and trudge down in inaccessible places, or I don't know how
worker safety,
live lines or something like that.
Seems much better for the safety of the workers.
Yeah, and there was like one sentence at the very end of the article that basically implied that we're seeing a lot of demand for the use and a lot of tasks that traditionally would have taken a crew to do that we can use with drones for. And anyway, I thought this was a cool. This was my something cool for the week. I thought was an interesting article, and I don't have a drone.
Well,
although I thank you for letting me fly yours.
So I think several months ago when we did that was the last time I've flown my drone. I got it because I thought it would be cool, and I had some ideas of what I wanted to use it for. One of which is actually a friend of ours. Their son works for a company who builds software for drones to do roof inspections. So I thought, that's a cool idea. I got my drone out, and one of my reasons why I need a drone was, hey, I could check out the roof because my roof's 20, almost 30 years old, cedar shake. It's probably in need of repair or replacement. And I flew my drone up there probably the first day or two after I had it, and immediately crashed it into the roof. It was awesome. Anyways, I think that there are a lot of things that you can do with drones beyond doing cool light shows in the sky like Intel does at the Olympics. So
I was traveling during the closing ceremonies. Mm-hmm. I heard that they had done it, but I have not watched a video. I'll have to go watch a video.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, drones are cool. I wish there's just not enough time in the day to do all the various goofy side projects I want to do. And unfortunately, drones for me right now is below the cut line. But I have one, which will be completely outdated by the time it ever gets above the cut line, which means I'll need to buy a new one.
Don has a Glowforge, the laser cutter.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool too.
Toys.
So many toys, so little time, little. Anyway. All right, man. Shall we call it a wrap?
Yep, that was fun. I'm looking forward to Android P and the Pixel 3. You heard it here first. Popsicle or Pop-Tart. It's one of those two. All right.
That's right.
Have a good night, John.
Right. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.